Hi, I'm Maximilian Büsser, the founder, owner of MB&F, and I'm super happy to be with you guys here at Revolution Thailand. And so you have to understand that I created the company in July 2005. I resigned from Harry Winston in May, so 2 months before, okay, 2005. And so for me it was like, oh, probably the first drawings were 2003, 2 years before. So on a flight back from Asia in September 2004, I have all these sketches of a watch which looks like an 8, and it's written for the first time, Büsser and Friends. And I get super excited. I'm like, yeah, that's the idea. Because I always had a complex. I'm not a watchmaker. I'm an engineer, but I'm not a watchmaker. And in those days, only watchmakers could create that brand. So I see this, and there are all sorts of 8-looking watches, and one is a chronograph, and one is a perpetual calendar, and one is a tourbillon. And the idea is one side is me, and one side is the friend. That was the original idea. That's September 2004. March 2005, I'm still in the sketch mode. I'm sketch, and all the brand is now called B plus F. It's not called MB&F. 2 months later, I'm going to resign. What happened? What happened during those 2 months? Early April, after Basel World, my bosses gave me my new contract. They were very happy with me and the watch division, and they said, I think you'll be very happy. And I look at this contract on a Saturday morning, and it's a great contract, I mean. And the last page is non-compete, non-solicitation of suppliers, an impossibility to hire anybody of team if you leave. Now, my dream, Büsser and Friends, is a watch brand where I'm going to work with all the artisans I worked with before. And at some point, the whole Harry Winston team was my team. I'd all hired them. I was going to take people from that team. But that was going to be in 2 years. And I realized, okay, if I sign this contract, my dream is gone. And if I start negotiating to take that page out, it's going to get really complicated with my bosses in New York. So I take a week holiday, and I put a spreadsheet of Excel. We all know Excel. And it's product 1, product 2, product 3, product 4, product 5. Product 1 is the watch which looks like this. It doesn't have a name. Actually, I think it was called T-Bird. Really bad name. It's a good thing I didn't keep it. Clearly, at the end of my week, I'm like, I'm missing at least 700,000 for sure. 2 weeks later, I'm in New York for a board meeting, and I tender my resignation. And I know that I don't have the money. I have only the sketch of HM1, which is not yet called HM1. From that moment, I start working with everybody on all the projects. I've got 2 months to finalize. I am freed. 25th of July, I create the company, which basically is going to be me all alone for 2 years in my flat. Those moments, those exhilarating moments. No, beautiful moments. Absolutely extraordinary moments. They're moments where your dopamine is through the roof, your adrenaline is through the roof, you are creating your dream. And that's why I didn't want to even think about the fact that it was crazy, but it was tough. I mean, we nearly went bankrupt 4 times the first 10 years. I've had sleepless nights, which is incredibly difficult moments, but that's what builds you. Creativity is a mindset. A lot of people lose it. Like, all children are creative. The famous NASA project tests show that every 5-year-old is like, on a scale of 1 to 100, 90% creative. When they're 15, they're like 20% creative, and when they're 20, they're like 3%. It's incredible how we lose our creativity. The reason is children are not scared of being wrong. They invent stories, they draw. I remember my elder daughter, when she was drawing when she was 3 years old, I loved drawing with her, and she would do a thing which looks like a potato, and I was like, what's that? And she said, it's a house. And instead of telling us, no, a house should be like this with windows and I said, I love your potato house, it's cool. 2-3 months later, she started drawing houses like all the other kids. Why? At nursery, either her friends made fun of her, or the teacher told her not, and she started making houses like everybody else. She's 12 now, and I tell her, never forget your potato house. Because you are creative, it's a mindset. It's a mindset about finding your true north, which is a big difference to us being a marketing creator. A marketing creator, which is most of my industry, is what do people want? What do they want to buy? Oh, now they want all black watches. Oh, we do all black watches. Ah, now they want bronze watches. So we do bronze watches. Oh, now they want steel on steel bracelet with a blue dial. Oh, we quickly go and do that. And it's just running after people's money. When you create something which you believe in, and you don't care if people will love it, you don't care if people will buy it, it's very scary. But that, you feel alive. So every time I create something, I feel alive. And when I feel that what I've created is not taking any risks, it's not putting me in danger, it's not getting me out of my comfort zone, I feel dead. I want to feel alive. I don't want to feel dead. So 20 years later, it's like every addiction. When you have an addiction to whatever it is, from coffee to alcohol to drugs to I don't know, whatever it is, when you at some point have the same dose, you don't feel anything anymore. You have to increase the dose all the time to feel something. Creativity is an addiction. So you have to basically increase the dose and to feel alive. You have to take more risks. I surround myself with a team who loves that. And they come up with ideas now, because that's the next generation of MB&F. It's by far not me anymore. I will then go and present it to the team and like, this, that, what do you think? And I only present something if I love it. And then they go, or they go, wow. And usually they're not impressed if it's not crazy enough, if it's not taking too many risks. My team will tell me like, we can be crazier. We can, let's do something a bit wild. Like, that's cool, but let's go wilder. And that's an emulation. That's how, after 20 years, we're way crazier than we were before. It's an assembly of crazy people. Yeah. The act of creating is where the adrenaline, the dopamine, and the love is. They're usually the pieces where I put myself in danger. It will be an HM4 Thunderbolt in 2010. It'll be an LM1, the very first legacy machine where nobody wanted a round watch from us, in 2011. It will be an HM6 in 2014. It'll be a Flying T in 2019. It will be a Mad Edition in 2020. I mean, who does that? Who, when you're finally, after 16 years of horribly hard work, people recognize your work, and what do? I go and create a watch at 2,900 francs when my watch is at 150,000. I think in the last pieces I created where I'm particularly proud and fond is the HM11, the Architect. No, the HM11 Architect, because it was the first step of my adulthood. Not too late, I'm 58 years old, I'm finally become a bit of an adult. Meaning, all my horological machines were inspired by my childhood. My HM11 is inspired by my adulthood. So that step, plus the incredibly complex movement, incredibly complex case, etc., 5 years to create that piece. That is the last piece which really got me like, wow. Don't you think we've had a lot of 20th anniversary celebrations this year? So, Longhorn in January, Serpenti with Bulgari in February, Mad 2 in March, SP1 in May, HM8 Purple in June, Mad 1S Inca Ilori in August, LM101 Evo in September. We just unveiled this week this pretty amazing initiative of in 2025 we're giving back. We're giving back, we're saying thank you to everybody. The 20th anniversary, there is no anniversary if there is not the community which enabled these ideas to come to life. There were big celebrations with our team, there were big celebrations with all the artisans, there were celebrations with our retail partners, and now there's celebrations with our clients, the tribe. And so we created these 10 unique LM101 Longhorn, which will never be sold. Give me a week's holiday, please, because this has been a crazy 20th anniversary. And then we start 2026 with another crazy year. And another thing which is happening in 2026 is the 15th anniversary of the Mad Gallery concept in Geneva. So there's a whole lot of other things happening there. And that's just 2026. As I told you before, I'm working on 2034. 2034, that's in 9 years. We have all the products planned, the main products. The problem is we still have ideas. And every time I come with a new idea, it's like, wow, isn't that cool? My whole team goes, yep, but what do we do with this? So either it's 2035 and I'll be 68 years old. Oh my gosh, I don't want to wait for that. The one thing we're not missing is incredible ideas. What we're missing is more engineers to transform those ideas into reality. We've now got 7 fully fledged engineers in the team working all day on developing these ideas into realities. I mean, something like this takes 5 years and you can't shorten it to 3. You just need more amazingly talented manpower to have more projects. It has to be a creator I admire. A creator I admire and a creator who is not like me. You don't want to collaborate with somebody who's like you. You want to collaborate with somebody who's got different ideas. Because if you've got the same ideas as you, it's as if you had a baby alone. You basically need 2 parents, 2 DNAs to do a collab. And so you need to have people who have got a different point of view artistically. You need people who have strong values. I'm not interested in people who don't have values. You need both of us to want the same thing, which is a great product. Because if one wants to make money and the other one wants to make a great product, that's me, we're never going to get along. I think there's something else which is very important. All of us creators have egos, pretty strong egos. It's important when you do a collab that both of us creators tone down our ego to a much lower level. Because if you have one like this and one like me, when I do a collab, I go, zoof. I welcome ideas which are not mine, characteristics which I wouldn't have done, which sometimes shock me. Like, really? You have to accept that. If you don't accept the differences, there's no collab. So you need both of us to have lower egos and to be able to talk to each other. One of the most extraordinary collabs is what I did with Fabrizio Bonamassa, the head designer of Bulgari. That's why we did 2 collabs, because Fabrizio is insanely talented. Oh my gosh, I mean, he's such a nice human being. And so when I'm like, really? Could we maybe do something like that? He's like, yeah, that's a good idea. And when he tells me like, Max, no, maybe you should, like, oh, that's a good idea. We're ready to go into the other's world. And that's, I think, it's like with children. Children from a happy couple are beautiful children. There is a tendency to do a few minimal pieces, but it's not because of SP1 or anything like that. SP1 was created to put myself in danger. I designed SP1 in 2018. There was no trend for small 38mm watches in 2018. It was just such a danger and such an excitement to try and create a classical watch when nobody wants a classical watch from MB&F. I just wanted to see if I had it in me, in my guts, to have the courage to do a classical watch with a twist, something innovative and classical. So that's why I created it. I must admit, there is also with Maximilian Mertens, we have a common love these days for brutalism, minimalism, things which are more basic, and you will see some projects which are much more, they're incredibly amazing, I find, but they're not maximalist, let's put it this way. When I came out with HM6, which was the very first of our pieces which has a biomorphic design to it, and I came out with that, and all our tribe, all our fans were like, what the hell is that? Because after HM1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which had a complete different design language, I do something which was completely bio, very organic. And I just wanted to try. I wanted to see what it does. Can I do something like that? And there's a whole line of organic watches in MB&F at that era, and then I stop and I go to something else. MB&F is an autobiography. It's not a brand. It's not a company. It's not a business. It's the biography of a creator, and soon there will be another creator called Max also, who will bring his story into that story, and which will enable me one day, if I have to finished, the company continues, thrives, etc. It's stories of human beings with crazy ideas. I have a particularly fond affection for the earlier tribe members. And it's interesting because when we do these watch get-togethers these days, and I meet a lot of clients who either have recently bought an MB&F, or they're on a waiting list for MB&F, or they're fans and they can't afford it, which is perfectly fine. I, up till last year, couldn't afford my own watches. I asked them, when did you hear about the brand? And 80% will tell me in the last 3-4 years. The company is 20 years old. But most people have only heard of MB&F in the last 3-4 years because of many, many reasons. Suddenly it's become, so many people started talking about it. Social media has been talking about it. Collectors have started getting away from the big brands and want independence, and etc. So it's become a movement in itself. But those who loved what we did, who found us when nobody knew about us, are therefore so much more important. Not because I'm an old guy, but because those were the people who allowed me to survive for 16 years. They allowed MB&F to survive. And without them, again, there wouldn't have been that suddenly, that you need the avant-garde people who are ready to buy a product and a brand that nobody's ever heard of, that nobody recognizes, that nobody admires, and say, I love it, I'm gonna go for it. Those are the people who are the most important for us. I don't know. You have to ask our clients, you have to ask our fans, you have to ask the people who think we have done something. We have never done everything you see because we wanted to change the world of watchmaking. We wanted to change our world. What's extraordinary, we're seeing over the last couple of years, and I get so many messages on social media from people who tell me, I will never be able to afford your brand, but thank you. Like, thank you? Thank you for what? And they say, because I've been looking at your videos, read your story. I'm not at all in the world of watchmaking, but I didn't have the courage to follow my dreams, and now I'm going to follow my dreams. So we've realized that the why of MB&F is no more creating extraordinary kinetic art pieces based on watchmaking. The why of MB&F for the last 4 years, we've decided, everybody in the team, it's our why, is to inspire people to find their true north. Meaning, don't do the contrary of everybody else. That's not the point. Find what is important for you. Most people live a life where their parents, their social environment, to think a certain way, to do certain things, to find a job, and most of these people have their own dreams. And if they can try and follow their own dreams and break free because they saw that we could do it, we can all be proud. And of course, I hope they all succeed. And not everybody will. But there's nothing worse. Imagine you arrive at the end of your life and you have not followed your dream. It's better to try and to fail than to not try. Now, our world is going to evolve because the creative process is always an evolution. So what happens here is that we've created horological machines, legacy machines, special projects now. We created clocks and we've created music boxes. We've created mad editions, mad galleries, all sorts of other things. I think there's a next step where we are going to break free from horology. I think the whole idea of a kinetic art piece, a mechanical 3D sculpture, can be applied to other domains. It could be a very cool espresso machine, which is so cool that even if it doesn't do coffee, I want that machine. But it does great coffee. It could be an incredible loudspeaker, which does great amounts, created by one of the greatest loudspeaker makers. But the object itself, I want that in my sitting room because it's such a cool sculpture. It could be a pepper grinder. It could be anything, where we're now with Max, the other Max, we're exploring all sorts of territories, and maybe, and I'm not sure, but maybe MB&F in 10 years won't be called MB&F. It will be called the Mad Galaxy. And in that galaxy, MB&F will be one very big planet, but there'll be other planets. And I'm so looking forward to that.